Okay, so, ooh, kitty. This is my 400th video, my 400th video on YouTube. A couple of them are were from a Kickstarter, I think, video. I believe they were from a Kickstarter campaign I had way back. I'm not sure, but the Studio 120, or the idea of Studio 120, was started back in 2013, as I've said many times, as a way to promote myself and my artwork. 2013, and that was January of 2013, so it's been over 7 years now, because this is September, so it's been about 7.5 years that I've been doing that, if I'm thinking correctly. And I've been trying to figure out, what do I want to do for my 400th video? I've been trying to figure out how to improve this experience for you, especially since we got the new iPad, like having regular live feeds, setting up more of a predictable experience. But it's probably never going to happen, because nothing ever goes as planned with me, as you've figured out over the past 7+ years. But I was thinking, what do I want to do for the 400th video? When I started this, it was slightly out of desperation. But there was a tremendous amount of hope behind making these. They morphed into me building kind of a fan base that I really never expected. Getting emails and messages from people through Facebook, and now Instagram and Pinterest and all these places where I post. I've met online thousands and thousands of people from around the world. A few years ago, my videos were being used to teach English and art in South American countries. I have no idea how that transpired. I know that the videos, pardon me, have been shown in middle schools, high schools, and colleges across the country, as well as over in Europe. Because I've heard from people who say, oh, my teacher told me to watch you, my instructor or my college professor, or we've been watching you in class all semester. And it just blows my mind that something like that could have happened when I was sitting in my first real artist studio back in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, freezing cold. I was absolutely frozen. So in the first videos, you'll hear a humming down below the camera, which back then was a Nikon Coolpix. I went through umpteen of those Nikon Coolpix. I was just trying to keep my feet warm at that point. And now here we are in Florida, where I'm hoping to keep myself cool somehow. But I was thinking about all the changes like that. How many studios I had. The original studio was Studio 120 in an old mill. That's how the channel got the name. And it just looked like I had a really big, bright future. And things didn't work out that way. But I moved from that studio to a shared studio in the same mill. Then I moved to a live workspace in the same mill. And we won't talk about what happened there, but I ended up moving to, I was living in East Providence at the time, and had been painting there in 2011 in my attic apartment, like Tony Curtis in a 60s or 70s movie. I had been painting there before I got the studio in Pawtucket. I had a truck then. I went on to have 2 solo shows in New York. I was in a gallery, or kind of still am, in a gallery. It's hard to explain. It's just unbelievable, the stuff that has happened since I started. Gallery on Madison and 50th. They've had my work down on Green and Bloom in Manhattan. I've been to Manhattan a whole bunch of times, and on one of those trips, a transmission in my truck went. I couldn't afford to have it towed. A friend of mine, Heather, had my truck towed. I coasted it out of Manhattan to Connecticut, to just over the Connecticut border. The transmission went, and I literally coasted all that way into Connecticut. My friend Heather had it towed for me. And I ended up having to sell the truck. I had the transmission redone, but everything kind of went to pot. So I had to sell the truck, which I cried over for weeks. Heather's gone. God, the changes that have happened. The truck's gone, my friend Heather is gone, my friend Yolandi is gone, and my friend Bugsy, my best pal Bugsy, who I can't talk about because I'll still cry. But he went to Manhattan with me. We went to Connecticut together, to a gallery in Connecticut. We had a lot of adventures. That truck, Bugsy and I. Bugsy and I also had we went through 4 scooters in that time. And back to the camera thing, I don't know how many dozen Nikon Coolpix we went through, but we went through those since the beginning of Studio 120. We upgraded to, I think it was the first used iPad came several years later. I can't remember which studio at this point. Oh, maybe it was when I was in Central Falls. It was in Central Falls, and then I moved from Central Falls, Rhode Island, to Virginia, and then after that it was down here to Sarasota. But I had bounced around, before that I had bounced around New Bedford, where I was in 16 shows. I had several solo shows. Then I had the solo shows in New York. Then I was in the gallery in New York, and I was showing around Pawtucket and Providence. Had a whole bunch of shows there. Had one show in, well, I was in a thing in Virginia. Oh, I was in a couple of things. I was in a sidewalk show and painting demonstration in Fredericksburg, Virginia. One in Orange County. And now I'm in Sarasota, where I show here. I have a gallery here in Sarasota, and then my gallery that's down in Miami, and I've been with for a while now. I think 4 years. Jay just moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm apparently in a show in New Jersey, where I also have a pop-up gallery. Friends in a pop-up gallery work there. I still have work in Providence, Rhode Island, a piece in Providence, Rhode Island. Then there's a few more places. But I think about all this, I'm just thinking about all the subjects that we've covered, from not only materials, but ideas behind being an artist, and you know, specifically intent, which I think I have hanging up, it's up on that wall. Intent, drive, passion. We've talked about my rules in painting. It doesn't matter, it's all fixable and there are no rules. That came up in 2013, and it's something I've tried to drive home to people who are artists and they're struggling, or they're artists, they want to be artists, and they think that they have to stick to a certain pattern that other people have done. I've tried to drive this home. There are no rules. And it's not like I'm a big expert on this. It's just experience at this point. What else have we covered? being screwed over by galleries, find really good support in galleries and good gallery owners, people you can trust, how important that is. We've covered, for artists and buyers, payment plans, how important that is to have payment plans, because I have artwork with multi-millionaires in South America, in the United States, I think over in Brussels and Israel. I'm trying to remember, but like multi-millionaire to billionaires. But the bulk of my people are workaday people. They're 9 to 5 people. So we've covered that. That's my audience, and I appreciate that, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm very happy with that, because that's who I am, or I was till recently. But anyway, God, I think about all the things we've covered. When I left Cape Cod, I had a fistful of money and a bright future, and I expected to go up, but life happens, and it's provided me with some really frustrating and really soul-killing experiences, but also experiences that I can share with others, and also say, look, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It may be a pinprick of light coming through that wall, but it's there. And you'll have to excuse me, I know I look exhausted. I have 14 paintings in play. I've gotten 3 of them completed. I have a 4th one to the right of me that I'm redoing, and I'll be doing in a live feed in a little bit. But my clock has changed from being up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning to staying up till 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning and just painting. Because right now I don't have a job. COVID is going on, and it's provided me with the time to spend it how I want to spend it, and to work how I'm most comfortable. So if I'm tired, I go to bed. If I'm excited about painting and I can keep going, I get to keep going. There are no limitations right now that way. I'm just trying to think, what have we covered? Yeah, I had that truck, and it was sky's to the limit. I've been, speaking of vehicles, I went through 2 really horrible scooters. One of them could barely get me around, if not at all. I bought a 3rd one when I got here. I've lucked out. I've met some really great people like Darren, who sold me a scooter, $50 a week, after my original Genuine Buddy that I moved here with was destroyed by a mechanic. It's now sitting over there. It's fully repaired. I just think about all the ups and downs, And I think about the times that I've just said, I've cried at the camera and I said, let's pinky promise to hang in there a little bit longer. I remember that one specific video, and I think that was summer of 2014. So that was a little over 6 years ago, and we've stuck to that. We've kept to our pinky promise. At that point, like I said, I was in Pawtucket, and it was so exciting. It was heartbreaking, the different things I was going through, because it was without my truck, and I didn't own a scooter at that point. I had a friend and her husband who could give me a ride. Sorry, I'm kind of scattered. There's a lot to think about, over 400 videos, but for a long time I would have to take the bus to the studio, and because I had Bugsy, I would have to take the bus home. So it was roughly I think it was about a 1.5 to 2 mile walk total, to and from, to catch a bus and to get to the studio. And it would take me anywhere from 2 to 3.5 hours to get to the studio. Then set up would take me about 1.5 hours, 2 hours. Make a video, paint, and then I would try and wait till the last bus, but it would be it would be about 3.5 hours going home, walking in the dark through gang territory. So we're talking anywhere up to 7 hours for me to get to the studio and back. And if someone told me that, I would think, my God, the determination. Kitty. Yeah, I know. He wants to get out onto the garage door. The determination I would see in that person. In me, it was just always get the job done. Get there and get to painting. So many things have happened. Over 400 videos. I remember when I started, I would catch how many views or count them. I kept a log. How many views, how many people have subscribed. I still don't have a lot of subscribers. I have, I think, around 1,500, I'm not sure. I get a new one almost every day. But it astounds me, the opportunities that YouTube has brought to me. It astounds me, the people that I've met online because of YouTube videos, but because of Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook and all these things. It astounds me how many people, when I was up north, would come to one of my shows. Sometimes it was just like a couple dozen or one or two, but there were a few. There were quite a few where 200, 300, 400 people would show up. I've had people, speaking of which, I've had people plan entire vacations around coming to meet me because they knew I was going to be somewhere, and I would have a painting up. That astonishes me. I remember when I was in Fredericksburg, a couple came up to me. They had literally driven hours and planned a vacation around meeting me, and I was so shaken. I'm not good at being outdoors and talking to people while I work, but I did it. But so many people would come up and talk to me. So many people that by the time this couple came to me, I was shaken. I can see their faces. I can't remember who they were at this point. And if you're watching this, please remind me. They took me to my favorite pizza place so I could get a slice of pizza, but I was like this. I was shaking because the RSD had me doing tremors inside. I was losing my voice. But I'll never forget that kindness. I've had people ride a bus 2, 3, 4 hours just to come say hello, just to come meet me. Public bus just to come meet me. Which is just astonishing. I'm not patting myself on the back. It's just, I am deeply grateful. And I have to mention before I forget, over the past 7.5 years, 400 videos, I've had a lot of support too. I've had times where I've almost been homeless, and I that's not drama, that's not rhetoric. I was on the brink of homelessness several times. I had times when I had absolutely no food, none. I would get food for Bugsy and Tiger, who I call Kitty, Tag, but that meant I couldn't eat. But it's not their fault, so they would eat first. And it was one of those times that I met a downstairs neighbor who was Portuguese in East Providence, and every night I would take Bugsy for a walk, and I'd come home and there would be empanadas in my apartment, in my attic apartment, sitting on my stove. Sometimes she left cake. I met her because of Bugsy, my friend Debbie. But I've had people give me cameras, like Nicole, who I met in Pawtucket. iPads now. There's Daniel Horn, Christy, Shelley Graham Turner. We've now been able to buy a new one because people support me on Patreon, which is, you know, notice hanging up there. My son and his wife have been incredibly kind and generous in helping me. But also in helping to keep the artwork going and keep these videos going. I've had an awful lot of support and I appreciate it. I appreciate the comments, I appreciate the emails, I appreciate just people reaching out. And right now, what I've been thinking about a lot right now is we are in COVID. We're watching stores, people lose their jobs. We're watching people struggle to survive. We're watching galleries close. We're watching opportunities just die. I had to go down and buy a couple tubes of paint. And as I was coming back, I saw storefronts that were normally bustling closed and for rent signs in the windows. And we're going to see more and more and more of that. But I've been thinking, what is the real underlying message in all of the 400 videos? And it is drive, it is intent, it is passion. It has been about making brochures and creating opportunities. Like, you don't have a place, you don't have a gallery to show with, make a show. Make your own opportunities. Now this has happened, this illness has happened. So I've been rethinking, what is it? What is it that brings people to watch these? Because they're not cheerful. The equipment doesn't always work. I drop things, I run out of stuff, I trip, I break things. It's not shiny and glossy. I don't do a painting in under a minute. It's slow, it's life. Things fall apart, things go great. But I think the underlying message or the underlying feeling behind these videos, and I think the reason you come here is hope. Hope. I think that's what I'm understanding. Hope for your artwork, hope for my artwork, but hope for community. Hope for the future. Hope that things will get better. But holding hope in our hearts. Always. Till that opportunity or the creation of an opportunity comes along. That's kind of what I'm getting out of, what I've gotten out of the past 400 videos. From me, from you. It's hope. So, while I try and do things on a more professional level, which is never, let's face it, It's never going to happen. This is never going to get glossy. This is never going to get shiny. This is never going to get fast. It's never going to keep up that big entertainment level that people want. It's just you. It's just going to continue to be you and me sitting together and holding hope while we work. That's it. All right. I'm going to do a live feed in a little bit. And in my last video, number 398, the mic cut out. So you got to see me doing this and my mouth was moving and there was nothing coming out. Because like everything to do with Studio 120, it's a learning curve. And I apparently, when I put in my earbuds, I Bluetoothed them to another iPad, an older iPad that I use. I was watching BoJack Horseman, which I love now. If you haven't seen BoJack Horseman, go watch it. I'm now watching it, and it's helping to keep me working at night. But I linked up that iPad to my earbuds, and this iPad decided to get involved as well. So the mic went out. I had no clue. I'm waving my hands and talking, and there's nothing coming through. Now, I could take that video down. I could delete it, and I did think about it for a few minutes. And then I went, no, you know what? No. We don't pretend the boo-boos don't happen. We don't pretend that mistakes happen. We don't pretend that we're perfect. We just keep going. That is what this is all about. That and hope. Hope that I won't do that again would be great. Hope that it gets below 100 degrees in this garage would be great. But we're working with the knowledge too that over the past 7.5+ years, excuse me, things do get better. Things do change. They always change. There is nothing but change. We just have to sit with this for a while. Ooh, I forgot to mention one big change. As I said, my son and his wife Dana have been very, very generous and kind with me and patient. While things go, and the gigantic roller coaster that I'm on, that we're all on. This is how much things have changed. James and I, my son and I, were not talking when I first started doing this, when I had my solo shows in New York. He was growing up, and our lives were actually running parallel to one another without us speaking. Since then, he's really become next to Bugsy, my best friend. Always Bugsy's number one, even though he's now cremated and sitting in the living room. Bugsy's number one, James. We won't forget that. Number one, son. But James, I consider him, I might cry, my best friend. I don't know if he knows that, but I consider him my best friend. I adore him. I'm amazed by him. But we talk quite a bit. Oh, I forgot. So since we started, we weren't talking. Now we talk a bit. We mainly message because I miss him and I can't hear his voice or I'll end up devastated. I haven't seen him in over 4 years now. September 9th, 2016. Time, distance, money. Time, distance, money, and now COVID. But he and his then girlfriend, fiance, got married. This is how much things have changed. They've moved from Boston to Seattle, where their worlds have opened up, expanded and contracted. And they've had a baby, Max. I have a grandson. When we first started, that never even occurred to me. But James, Dana, their changes, and Max, those were all hope too. Life will ebb and flow, ebb and flow. But we need to hold out hope. Okay, I've been doing this for 30 minutes. I just wanted to get on and chit chat with my friends. All right? So let's keep holding out hope together. Let's keep pushing forward with our artwork. And let's keep helping one another and our little art community here. All right? A lot of stuff has happened with us. But anyway, I look forward to hearing from you. Let me do my thing. If you like this channel, please subscribe, recommend it to other people, share, and also think about monthly support through Patreon. Go to Beck Lane on Patreon, or you can do one-time tips, and the information is up there, so I don't need to keep explaining it. Also, if you'd like a gator, their face masks, I have all different types of images available. Pretty much anything that's on my website, becklaneartist.com, becklaneartist.com, we can make into a gator or mask or a poster. You can actually have a print of my work. So that's my spiel. Let's do the Patreon jingle. Ready? Patreon, #cats, meow, meow, meow. And that started because of my buddy Punky, who lives in North Carolina and likes to sit and watch me paint. Because of her parents, Stacy and Josh, two of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people I've communicated with the past 7+ years and 400 videos. Anyway, hope, 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 hope. Then we can turn to drive, intent, passion. But always we're going to hold out hope. Okay, that's the end of my blah, blah, blah. It's now been 33 minutes. That's a lot of talking. I'm going to try and do a live feed again and not have everything sync up with my little earbuds. All right? Ciao. Ciao. Boink.